Come on, you've done this so many times. You should have a stand or something.
I know. But I did have the stand, but I thought you wanted sideways. That's why.
I know, but
It is
if you have a stand, you can still go sideways. Stands are they're good enough for sideways too.
You know what? That's what I will do.
George's stand is only one way.
You get this a lot on the old school.
Yeah.
How about
Now turn the phone to the side and see if you get full screen.
Oh, you want me to turn it to the side? That's
I
what
know, but then you have to turn off the because you were sideways, not the phone. You.
Okay, so how was that?
Now here we go. That's what I need. And the Mannion shirt, of course. George will never disappoint. He'll get on the fucking any podcast. He wears a Mannion shirt. Good.
Hey, it's either Mannion or something have to do with the Olympia to represent. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Dennis, I'm gonna tell you something, bro. Listen, I have so many friends, and you one of them reached out to me when I was down. But let me tell you something, man. Jim Mannion, that man every week, man, once or twice a week. And some of my worst times, man, like I'm ready to kill myself and shit. Seriously, when I was on the opioid, and this man, he will call me. He's like, "Hey, man, we miss you." You know how Jimmy, "Hey, Georgie," you know, like. So you never forget these people, man. You know what I mean?
Of course,
that's why.
Of course.
Yeah, you always gotta be appreciative, man, with the people. I mean, this guy was like more than family, man. Like he was really involved. He wants to know everything. So
right,
yeah,
that's why
he's really family oriented.
Yes,
George. Yeah, the same with me. Even when my father passed at the from COVID, man, him and Tyler and JM, they were all on the phone with me, man, like a group call, and sent flowers to the.
That's what I mean, bro. That's like, and then how can I not support Mannion, man? You know, Jim's been like, I mean, remember the first time.
Look who we have.
I was 17 years old. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
who we have?
Chris. That's Chris Aceto.
Put the camera lower. Let's see your chin.
Yeah, Chris.
Let's see your chin, Chris.
You guys have upgraded screens. I only see Chris right now, and then I see just Dennis.
Oh, really?
Judge George. How can you see like all the people?
You should see all of them.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
You might have to update your Zoom.
Swipe left.
Swipe left? What do you mean?
No, don't listen. Don't listen to him.
Swipe.
That's okay.
No, whoever talks, I think that's the one you're supposed to see anyhow. You know what I mean?
Right. But you should have I have everybody on the screen.
Yeah, but
that's you, Dennis.
Yeah, but I'm using the laptop just like you, or the phone.
I use phone. Yeah, I use phone. Yeah. But I do want to jump in and say something about.
I'm laptop, guys.
Right. I hear somebody. But listen, you guys were talking about Jim Mannion, and I have to just jump in and say it. Listen, as I had a few times issue and problems, and he was expecting, he always told me at the end, listen, Milos, you are all my kids, and I treat you all the same, and I love you all the same. And he is, so, I fucked up a few times, and he let me know, but
you need to unmute.
There, always.
Then now, I'm waiting for one more.
I think two, you said...
Yeah, but Lee will be after Chris leaves because Chris got to pick up his kids in a while, and then we'll bring Lee in.
Okay.
Lee who?
Lee Priest.
Oh, okay.
Who did you think? Lee Thompson?
Yes. I'm like, if you bring in Lee Thompson, I'm fucking out of here.
Shit. He will be everywhere but my show. Trust me.
Exactly.
Chris, how's that working? He's like, hey, Chris.
This is like, hey, Chris, I'm in with you, buddy. Don't worry.
He's out again.
Yeah.
Let me go back to my comfy shirt. I mean, I gotta sit here, man, nice and beautiful. Yeah, I gotta set up myself here.
So George, how you been, man? What's new?
You know what, man? God's good. It's a blessing. So I'm selling my big house. And finally I
Are
got-
you just trying to show off the boat now, or is this a better light?
No. You know this.
Because
seat-
right now you're not in a good light. I can't even see your face.
Listen, this seat is so comfy, man. Look at me. Like I just sit
The
like
light
it's
is
so
fucked
beautiful. Over there is like, it's like
Okay, so you
it's
sell
just so you can
so
eat your breakfast.
So you're selling your big house.
Yes, I sold it actually. I got a deal. The guy named Jeff Logan, you probably know him. Tattoo, black dude. He's a new actor.
Jeff Logan. No.
Yeah, he follows you.
What movie? Oh yeah, well.
Yeah, he follow us all. Like he have a supplement company or whatever. Like
Jeff
he's
Logan.
pretty
No,
good.
right now I don't know. I have to see have to see his face.
Yeah. He's all tattooed up.
Oh, really?
Black dude. So anyway, he's from Rochester originally. He have a kid here. So he went to California and stuff and got a divorce. So he's coming back here because he wants his teenage, his mom and dad and everybody to move in the house. And I said, okay, well, that's perfect.
So is this
is
the big house that you're sitting at right now?
No. That's my summer house.
Oh, I apologize, man.
Shut up, Dennis. You're so bad, man.
Hey, Chet, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well,
Hey,
just
Chad.
how you doing,
Ladies
brother?
and gentlemen, all the way from around the corner.
First, let me say, Chet, thank you for getting up earlier.
This,
I know this is not your time, Chris. You know, Chet is on a graveyard shift too.
Yeah. I used to be I'm on the graveyard shift too, man. Shit.
I went to bed 4 hours ago. I'll be awake in about an hour.
That's when he communicate the best.
So, are you going back to sleep?
No, probably won't now.
Listen, I don't know Chad, why do you work overnight?
It's just the way. I don't know, man. I've been like that ever since I was on the police department. My schedule was always fucked up because I was on third shift. Then I started working doing that, and then now with kids, like I'll do all my stuff with my kids. And then at night I'll do all the work and stuff after the kids go to bed. So then of course I got to watch TV, got to unwind. So shit, I went to bed at like 8:00 last night, or like 8 a.m. this morning.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
I was about to say we went to bed at the same time because I went to bed at 8:00. I put PM because I had to get up at 1:30 for a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So George, listen. So this is your summer house. Where is the summer house?
I'm New York and on Lake Ontario. So this lake behind me kind of take you all the way to Canada. It's one of the Great Lakes. You know?
Okay. So and the house you sold is the one in Rochester.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got you. And then what? And then where you gonna stay there?
No. I have another house. Dennis, what's so sad? You remember the house when you came in town to see that big nice house?
I don't think I went to your house.
Yeah, you remember we drove.
No,
and I told you
I wasn't.
anyway,
I was in the hotel, but I was so sick. Remember?
Yeah. But anyway, so this house I built 2011. So my friend who was working with me, who was a Stanford graduate, like not too many brothers in this area in Rochester. They're freaking like so he was gonna be the mayor and stuff. Make the story short, he bought the house from me, and the guy, man, last year he passed away at 50 in his sleep. He have a brain aneurysm. So his wife, she have 4 kids. She wants to go back to Texas because that's where her family. So she asked me if I want to buy it back. I said, yeah. And I bought it. I thought my house was sold at a time, last year. So now I've been carrying 3 houses. And if you know anything about New York, man, the taxes are just horrible. It's like I'm just working day and night, me and my wife, to pay taxes. So it's crazy. So that's why now I'm happy the big house is gone,
Yeah, that's great. And listen, you knew the taxes were high when you bought it.
Oh, yeah. But, Dennis, the difference is, brother, when I had the company, when I have 5 links, I was making, like close to 2 million a year versus now I'm making, 300,000-400,000. It's big different, man.
I feel very bad for you, man. You only make 300-400.
It's so bad, bro.
George, they're gonna be listeners be like, what the fuck is he talking about? They're only making 300,000-400,000. Some people make 40. Oh, here's Chris. No, I feel you, brother. I love you. You know that.
Love you too, bro.
Yeah, but it's good to see that people make good money from training good athletes. Chet Nichols, what's up, my brother?
I don't know about making money from the bodybuilding now.
All right, Chris, can you hear us?
Chris. Yeah.
Maybe I got to talk to him like this.
No shit.
Chris. I know he's got issues, I guess, with. Anyways, so Chet, want to welcome Chet. Welcome George, of course. We would welcome Chris when he makes it. And I thought we were going to talk about bodybuilding a little bit. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
First, you know what I want to ask you, George? I just, heard the news that, I first heard the news that supposedly Blessing got fired from Redcon 1. I called Blessing right away because I had a sponsor who was interested in signing someone. But, he sounded confident that he's good to go. He's all good.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. It's not
but he
nobody
told,
fired
but he told me that he wasn't fired. He said he left.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, here we go.
I had to use my phone. If Wayne DeMillia was in charge, I'd be fine and kicked out.
Chris, turn your phone to the side if you can.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know who was to be on, but I do George's voice on the radio. I do Milos' voice on the radio, and I watched Sinbad the other day, 2 nights ago. My wife and DJ, you sound just like Sinbad.
So now you got to do chat too. Don't forget chat.
Oh, is Chad here too?
Yeah.
Where?
Oh man,
Chad
we
doesn't
ruined
come out
it
of the
for Chris.
house.
Now he can't talk any crap.
All right.
Chad don't leave the house.
Ever.
He leaves for 3 days when he goes to the Olympia, and that's it.
That's it. That's it. You know what? And you're probably right.
If I could get away with that shit, I'd do it.
If he could do that from home over Zoom, he would do that too. Yeah. What is it like? What is it like? This is for the listeners because all you guys train one or multiple guys that compete at the Olympia. What is it like as a coach to go to Vegas or wherever the Olympia is that weekend, and then have more athletes that's getting ready for the show? And you got to pay equal attention to everybody because they're all going for the biggest show. What is it like? I'm gonna start with you, George. Just in real short, what is it like leaving home and probably going for the most stressful weekend of the year?
Listen, when I used to go back in the days, it was so much easier, Dennis. Like you remember, you were on the team. I didn't care. I take care of everybody. I give everybody 100%. Right now, man, it's very hard for me. It's very hard. A lot of people don't know, but I have an ileo conduit. That means I have an outside bladder. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta go take all my stuff with me. I gotta make sure I'm always hydrated and stuff. It's not an easy like it used to be. Like, oh yeah, you just jump and so, cancer took a lot out of me. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons, really, man. I play safe with everybody. I try to, to help everybody as much as I can to keep them, away from harm. You know what I'm saying? But it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. Chet, how is it for you? Because you had years where not only did you have a lot of guys, you had the top 6 guys, and everybody thought they're going to win the Olympia.
Yeah. I mean, one year I had 12 at the Olympia. And, dude, I remember not sleeping. And fucking Cormier was one of those guys. So that's literally like 3 guys you're chasing around all over.
Hey, but
He doesn't sleep.
I'm waiting patiently. I'm always up waiting patiently.
But it's tough, man. I mean, it's tough. I mean, now I think it's more stressful now, but I'm a little bit more calm now because when I had kids, for whatever reason, like my whole kind of attitude changed. So you kind of deal with things differently. And so things I think that stressed me out back when I was younger, like doesn't even faze me now. I mean, I'm like, yeah, no big deal. But back then that shit freaked me. I'm like, what the fuck type of shit? And then now I'm just like, go with the flow. Like, man, that don't even faze me. So I think it's easier now a little bit. I'm older just because I think a little bit more calm, a little bit more kind of handling like the stresses and stuff versus, you know, and I mean, no matter what, like you got to realize when you're at this level, there's a lot of nutritionists out there that do things, but a lot of them are working with amateurs and stuff. But when you're working with athletes at this level, you're dealing literally with millions of dollars, literally, because you're dealing with contracts and, you know, prize money and all of this stuff comes down to where these guys place. It's fucking stressful sometimes.
You took a couple of years off, so you came back basically. You came back on the scene all of a sudden, kind of like when Rami won the Olympia in 2020 or the Arnold for the Arnold.
There was a couple things, you know. One, I didn't want to be that guy that, you know, like missed out on all of these like certain years with my kids. I didn't want to look back and go, man, how did I miss all of that fucking shit? So I stepped back. I trained a few little people, but like just, you know, little things here and there, but I didn't do anything all in. I basically kind of, you know, done things with the kids, and I got all of that part in. And then it really was when my kids kind of got to an age where they became interested in weightlifting that then regenerated, you know, my, you know, type of thing. And then like over the last couple of years, I had some health issues that kind of, you know, really kind of kept me at bay just a little bit, like putting on a full team. And now everything, like knock on wood, we're back 100%. Yeah.
Chris, you are one of the guys, kind of like George, that since I've been competing, I've seen you almost at every show. It doesn't matter, national, international. I know you got to be tired, man.
Yeah, you know, when you interviewed me, I'm close to the end. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know Chad was going to be on because I didn't know if I was going to wear my Panic Mode T-shirt or George's. But I didn't know George wore the Minions gym T-shirt, which I didn't know if Jim still had the gym. So, you know, I going to Vegas. I love going to Vegas. The Olympia just didn't feel like the Olympia in Florida. For some reason.
True.
You know, it feels like there's more pomp and circumstance in Vegas. I love going out there. I had one year if you had classic guys in there, 18, I almost died that weekend. And I promised myself at this point that, you know, I try to give people as much as I can, but there's a limit to what you can give people no matter who the athlete is. You know, I don't think you know, you want people to win, you want them to do great, you want them to look their best, and you want to give your all, but, you know, it's Chad or George or Milos would know people, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but they'll suck you dry. You know what I mean? If you give yourself to someone, they'll not only take you, but they'll take you in and, you know, drain you. And it's, you know, it can take a toll, you know? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoy it. Not as much as I used to, that's for sure. Unfortunately, and if I did still enjoy it, you know, I'd be like heavy duty, taking more people on and stuff like that. But it's just, you know, it is what it is. It's like these guys can tell you. I mean, George has got to pack up all his crap before he can even leave the house. And looking at that house, I don't know why he'd even want to leave. You know, Chad and Milos, it's just a big, and Chris, it's a big, tough weekend, you know?
I got to take my hat off for Milos, though, because Milos not only does the guru nutrition part, he's hands-on with a lot of guys in the gym, too. So he's in the gym and the nutrition. I mean, I don't know how you do it. I know you don't. He'd be posting 24 hours a day. I don't know when he sleeps, you know? But how much longer do you have, Milos? What do you think?
I don't know, really. First, I have to give a credit. Chad did 12, and Chris, what do you say, 18 people? That's unthinkable for me. I mean, 5 already brings me on the brink of death, right? And this is what I had at one Olympia, 5 guys. But 18. Now, Chris, I heard that you actually stay in your room, and they have to come to you.
Yeah, I don't leave.
Yeah, George used to do that, too, which is the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was
George, right? You have your room, and they come to you, and then you look at them in the room. Yeah, that's the way it should be. See, Milos is like Chad; they run to the rooms. I remember that.
and listen, and there was many times like Max Charles would be 30 minutes away, and I had to see him like 4 times a day. That's 4 hours of driving time. stuff like that. But anyway, when you say, okay, how do you give a priority to somebody? Okay, here, Chad was working with the top 6 Olympia, right, at the same time. And really, is Ronnie or Flex or Chris say, hey, man, come to my room first? You know what I mean? I mean, the pressure is on. Now, I've seen this many times. What things don't go as planned, and then you have 18 guys. And then, 5 of those guys, you have to change the things. And then you have to see them maybe a little bit more frequently. It's like one of those things. Now, I'm sure that we all always remember exactly what we tell them. But then there is the times that, okay, when you change and you don't exactly recall, okay, I told you this, and take this diuretic or that diuretic, and then there's some kind of confusion. And then many mess ups happen that way. When you're changing something in the last couple of days and you see 18 people, I can only imagine.
You get older too. So like when I was younger, I could remember every single thing I did. But the older I got, I literally had to write the room numbers down, because if you ended up with so many, you're like, shit, I couldn't even remember what room number they were in.
That would be me.
I had a notebook for like writing, stuff down, making sure that everything was on point.
Well, Chris made it perfect. Come to my room. That's probably something I have to do. Just come to my room and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you try to get them all to stay in the same place, same hotel, and then just have them come to your room.
Yeah.
But,
they get Airbnb with a kitchen and far away and stuff like that. So,
I know, but hey, listen, that belongs to the sport. I mean, you got to move.
Yeah. Then foreigners, they don't rent a car. And I live in Vegas, for example, so I have a car. So it's like, okay, let me make it easy.
If I was you, I would let them all come to the house.
I got the perfect light.
I remember George's room. I said, we walk into that room, there would be 3 people in there. We just doing this. You'd be just all day. No, but that's awesome. That's awesome. So now all you guys, George, Milos, Chris, you probably too. You still working with Breon, right?
Yeah.
And Chris and Chad, everybody's getting guys ready for the Olympia. Okay. So,
you too.
Okay. So no, I'm just helping. I'm just helping. So now can we agree with this? Because we hear so many people say, some of them say that this is going to be the best Olympia ever. I disagree, but what I think is this will be one of the most interesting Olympia ever.
It's the most competitive in years.
Yes, the most interesting one, where you literally can't say who's going to be top 6, because there's potentially, I think, 10 to 12 guys that could be in the top 6, and that makes it for me the most interesting. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this year's Olympia with the athletes that you're working, or what do you see from other guys? Who wants to start? George, come on.
What do you want me to start?
I want you to tell me. Tell me.
The story is, honestly, I have a good cats on my like Chris told me, I'm gonna be the ambassador of Nigeria or something. He called me. It's crazy, but honestly, I have good talented, and like you said, man, this Olympia, the only reason what Chad was just saying is going to be so interested and so competitive, because all these guys, they're apple and oranges. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have too many people have that nice Flex and Chris and Ronnie. No, we get from all over different looks. Certain people they're tall and height, beautiful physique. Certain people short, stocky. So it's a lot of cool little things that it's going to happen. But honestly, I'm looking, me and a lot of people, for an example, they don't talk much about Blessing anymore because Andrew came in the picture. But I'm going to tell you something, man. If Blessing would have continued to do the shows, I think he could have won 4 or 5 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Blessing could beat Andrew?
I never seen them next to each other.
I'm
you know?
asking you. Well, you know bodybuilding,
you know,
George. You know bodybuilding. You don't have to put them next to each other for you to know if you believe that Blessing can beat Andrew or Andrew will beat Blessing. Who do you see?
I'll put it this way to you. If they're both 100%, Andrew will win.
Okay. So what happened to
What happened?
Never
I
mind.
took you off. You see what I'm
No,
saying?
never mind. No,
Because it's true, man.
because you said if both 100%. What is 100%?
Yes.
What is 100?
Yes.
What is 100% Andrew Jacked? We saw him at Texas where you said it was like 75, and then
You see, Andrew,
and
people
then we
don't
saw.
believe me when I tell them, maybe Milos know because he talked to him and certain people know. Dude, the kid still haven't taken GH. I don't know. He don't want to take GH. He doesn't like it. He said he tried it once. He held a lot of water, and I'm trying to tell him. I said, man, you need to, So I can't force certain people. You know what I mean, to do things. My job is to give everybody 100%, and it's up to them. How they're gonna perform. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
you don't know
so-
what certain people,
so-
do.
A question for you because you were there. Was he better in England than he was in Texas?
Yes, he was a touch better. I think in England the light didn't give
Okay.
any of these guys, because if you notice from the back double biceps in England, actually his glutes start showing now.
Yes,
You know
I
what I'm
saw
saying?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in Texas he didn't have that. He was maybe a little bigger, probably like 5-6 pounds bigger, but he didn't have that dryness. See, I think in England didn't have that nice lighting. You know what I'm saying? But he knew it. He knew that he was in better shape, abs wise, everything. But you know how it is, man. Bodybuilding, it's like the stock market. And 2 hours can go up and down. Especially if Biden's in charge, we're all in trouble.
Yeah.
We don't know what the stock is going to happen.
Chad, what can Blessing beat Andrew?
No way. Not even close. Those two, they won't even be compared.
Chris,
Yeah.
can Blessing beat Andrew?
I think Blessing is great, and I think getting back just to the Olympia as a whole, there's different people in the lineup. There's different people who have, if you throw in Lunsford, if you throw in Blessing, you throw in Andrew, you throw in Samson Dauda, who's not going to look like he looked last year, meaning he's going to be vastly improved. You got who knows what Hardy's going to look like. But I'm really impressed with Andrew simply because of the front lat spread looks wild. The front double bicep, he can tilt and make it look like something special. Both of those guys, I think they're big guys, huge structures, which will can potentially carry them to really high placings possibly. And we haven't seen him in the lineup before. I would definitely go with Andrew Jacked. I think he's more impressive. That's not just say that I'm not impressed with Blessing, but it depends on how they come into the show and nerves and first time there and there's so many factors that come into play. And I think to me both of them look like they have younger looking bodies as opposed to like a Hardy or a Ramy or somebody who's got like settled in muscle density. As big as Andrew is, there's like and as dense as he looks, it looks like it's kind of like newish muscle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
But he's impressive, and I'd have Andrew.
I think the difference between the two is Andrew is just at this point in the career much more complete than Blessing. Blessing's a great bodybuilder, but he's still a couple years away. When you look at him in overall comparison, he's still lacking legs, and not only lacking legs, but he's got one leg drastically smaller than the other because of the imbalance in the leg.
Right.
And so that's going to take a couple years to really kind of balance back up and match his upper body. And because of that, I think he'll fall quite a bit at the Olympia. Andrew, on the other hand, is a very, very dangerous complete bodybuilder. And I agree with Chris. I think once that maturity kicks in and we see that like depth of separation and that denseness to the muscle, he's going to be very, very dangerous. But he'll be dangerous this year.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Chad just said, and and I was very impressed, George, with Blessing from the change from last year to this year. Tremendous. Now, if he can do the same and just focus on the legs just a little bit more and bring them legs up just a tad to match the upper body, I think Blessing is at a point where he can do some real damage, in the real big shows. So I totally agree. At this point, I think his legs, I don't know how it is right now. I don't know what he was doing leading up to the Olympia. Is he going to be able to improve the legs a little bit more? What do you think, George?
He's working really hard.
Yeah.
What I like about Blessing, he's hungry. He's very hungry.
He's young, right? He's young.
We have that drive. Yeah, I mean, he's 30 years old. So he's a little hungrier than the rest of them, And I'm telling you, the difference is seeing Blessing in the pictures is totally different than seeing him live. Right. Blessing have some really good quality muscles on his upper. Maybe his legs are not like perfect, but I tell you what, in the lineup, when you look at him first, like face to face, not in pictures, they have some really cool lines in them and striations and stuff. So, that's what brought him up. And like, he took that score, like first from all over with both shows. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When Blessing is up there and performing, man, he's pretty to look at. It's kind of like when Kai used to like move around, you see like a lot of fibers and stuff. And me and Chad, we were talking like, man, look when he moves, you can't take your eye off him. That's Blessing. Actually, he have that factor, man. Like he have pretty cool muscles and fibers. So, like I said, that's why I'm telling you, man, it's very hard to tell because these guys, both individual, when you see them live, it's totally different than looking in the pictures, because picture doesn't show you that when the judge is looking at you and see those little details and stuff. Both those guys, man, they're like really dangerous. And I'm telling you right now, I can go out and say they're both going to be in the first call-up. I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, can I jump in? I haven't seen Blessing in live, right? So in person. Yeah. So maybe, George, I'm going to take your word. But when you compare them, upper body can be very well compared. Very well. I mean, but where Andrew dominates him is in the legs. And I don't know, it's kind of not realistic to expect that Blessing would at this point make a major difference in legs.
But Milos, you remember when Blessing turned pro? Not Blessing, Andrew, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We all complained about his legs.
Yeah, but listen, the way it is, when somebody does it and then in a few months improve dramatically, you can say, okay, he has the genetics for it. He found a work and a workout that simulates and makes it grow. And then you have a guys that no matter what you're going to do, right, it's limited. I mean, let's go with like Johnny Jackson. Johnny Jackson was a monster. He could squat like 800 pounds and all this stuff, right? But just never really connected. His back would take over and, it just didn't happen. So I don't see that happening with Blessing. I mean, structurally, I was thinking like upper body, whoa, it is super, super comparable. Lower body, and just complete picture, I think that Andrew has a huge edge.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
On that one. Interestingly, Chad, I mean, I didn't notice that Blessing has the one leg smaller, but you always you call Jay Cutler's leg smaller.
If you actually, he's got a big difference from leg to leg because he has one leg that's actually shorter than the other. And so if you notice, he does a really good job twisting and planting. Blessing.
Blessing?
Yes, he's got one leg that is shorter than the other. He'll
That's
twist
why he
and
poses
hide it.
that way.
Yes, he twists and hide it really well. There's probably, I know when I worked with him, I think there was over a 3-inch difference in leg difference.
Jesus. Yeah.
It's a big, big difference.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you this, if anybody noticed. Top 3 guy also has the one leg smaller.
Hardy. The right leg. Yeah.
Yeah, right leg. Yeah, it was noticed. But I don't know if anybody noticed.
Well, ain't most people like that?
Yeah, but some people, this is really obvious if you look at it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when the people looking at a bodybuilder, you are so impressed with certain body parts, you just keep looking everywhere, but you're not focusing in on a body part to see, wait a minute, this leg is so much smaller.
But that's part of bodybuilding. Is
Exactly.
What arm is thicker? What pec is thicker?
Yeah.
How your abs are gonna hit? How you're gonna pose? All that stuff that's just bodybuilding 101.
Let me throw another name out there for Chris Aceto. What do you expect from William Bonac this year?
I think Bonac, I think last year he could have placed a little bit higher. And I think the year before, which was, the year before, I think they dogged him for some reason. He was in the first call out, top 4. He was freaky. And then, I don't know, they moved him down, way down after like prejudging. William Bonac is a dark horse in the show. I don't think he's respected to the extent of what his physique is probably going to look like or has looked like. Because if we talk about Dexter and just like waiting for people to come in off, if you're in you don't want to be in a 2-person call out next to William Bonac. He can get lost in like a call out of 6, which is unfair. But, if you take William Bonac and you put him next to
Anybody.
You put him next to Blessing. You put him next to Hardy. You put him next to Remy. He's got some, his legs from the side when he's on is ridiculous. His back, his lats attached at his hamstrings. He's got an unbeatable, most muscular side chest is impressive. It's just hard for him to get into like a couple poses like the abs and thighs and side tricep. But if you're sleeping on William Bonac, I think, he could turn out to be a nightmare for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just because he's got the experience and he's the type of guy, put in the work and don't care one bit what the judges think, what the fans think, what the competitors think. He's not afraid of no one up there.
You know what I think it is with William this year? I think he found a person that the chemistry with him and Chet, I think, is really good. That's what it seems like, because he is super motivated. I haven't seen William this motivated in a few years now. And by looking at what he posts, you could see Chet, you can confirm this, he's at his all-time biggest.
100%. He's never been this big before.
Yeah. So that shows me, and we saw what he looked like at the Arnold, and we all agreed that he should have won the Arnold this year. So nobody questions. Is anybody thinks that he should have placed second? George?
No, I honestly saw him win.
Yeah. So we saw what he looked like at the Arnold. So if he could take that motivation, he killed it in Boston. He flew back to Netherlands and then came back just for the show. Literally within a week, he flew back and forth just to compete. And I think that this will be the motivation. I think that his motivation level is at an all-time high. He knows this is going to make him or break him. I think he's going to come 100%. And Chet, you can tell us more. So what do you think? What can we expect from William Bonac this year?
I'll tell you, you nailed it. When we set forth obviously we jumped into the Arnold really quick. So there was a lot of questions that still needed to be answered. And we hit it pretty good at the Arnold, obviously. We had some issues, obviously. Everybody knows what they were with the gyno and some things with the abs that had to be fixed. And so the goal going in was not only fix all of that, but to also get him as big as possible. We had to improve the legs because back a couple of years he had a hamstring injury that brought down the leg size. Had to get the legs back, and so I wanted him, and I told him this. I said, "Listen, man, we got to get everything up and we've got to get you to somewhere around 120 kg. And he's like, listen, man, I'll never get there. I've never been that heavy in my life. And I go, man, I'm going to tell you, you can do it, but it's going to take consistency. You can't eat, consistent for 2 weeks and then, go on vacation and do this and not eat and then go back to eating and this and that. I said, we got to go to work right now and we got to stay in that groove. But the thing with him is he realized that once he got into that groove and saw the progress that he was making, and his body, I'm going to tell you, just exploded, because he had never eaten the way that I had him eat, doing some of the things that we were doing. He had never done that. So everything was new to him. So it was kind of a different experience for him. It was all new, which better than anybody, that can be remotivation right there, because you're not doing the same old shit that you've been doing for years. And then he saw what was happening, and I think that he realized, like, shit, like I may have 4 or 5 more years left in this sport, and it just drove him to get to the point where we did, and we ended up hitting all of the goals for this year, and he's going to be fucking dangerous. There's no doubt he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, 'cause I think I can't wait to see him stand next to guys like Hardy, Brandon
Walker too, Nick Walker.
Hunter, all these guys. It's ridiculous. Chris, do you have you got other than Rafael? Do you have anybody else in the show in the Open?
No.
So Rafael is going to be. This is his first Olympia too, right?
Olympia, yeah.
Where do you see Rafael coming in? Because this is Rafael. We have a few guys, doing their rookie debut, and Rafael is considered one of the guys with the more pleasing physique. Which I totally agree. I love his physique, especially in person. It's better than in pictures. Where do you see him going?
You just have to see him. It's going to be a contrast, right? He's not going to be the biggest up there by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's a lot of people we haven't even talked about yet, but he's just going to try to come in his absolute best condition to highlight what he's got. His calling card is his flow and shape, and see where it lands. But historically, or always the Olympia is about freaks. So when you think of that's what we want to see. And this it's a tough lineup to be in. I mean, Nick Walker's kind of freaky. Ramy's a freak. Bonac is a freak in his own way. Andrew Jack is a freak. Samson's becoming freaky. I'm probably missing people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Hardy. The interesting thing is Hardy. I wouldn't call Hardy freaky, but he's a great bodybuilder, and he negates some of those. He's one of the few who can squeeze in and negate a lot of people's crazy size. And maybe Lunsford may be able to do that as well.
Yeah. Chris, I want to throw something at you. Samson Dauda, Andrew Jack. I'm starting some shit here right now. No,
Chris.
This is us talking. Let's keep it real. I'm asking Chris.
Which Chris?
Chris Cormier, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm waiting for him to speak up.
Yeah. Come on, real deal.
Well,
Give it to us. Real. He's trying to be nice. Look at him. He's trying to find a way to say something.
I like Andrew Jack, man.
Okay.
I think I think no one really looks like that up in this area. I would like to see some more development, like I said, and many times before, in that rhomboid area, that Terry's Miners area. He got thicker right there. He got some more separate those hamstrings.
But whatever you just saying, whatever you just mentioning, would you like to see getting better with Andrew? Samson already got that.
I know.
So here's my thing.
I know.
I like them both.
Listen, he has a more mature look.
Okay.
Samson.
So now I like them both, but I've seen what Samson looked like when he's on. So I see his separations and stuff. And now I'm thinking, now put that size on him that he has now and get that same condition. Oh.
And the judges, I think, like his physique. I think they like what he brings.
And he displays very well too.
Yeah, he likes
George. I know Andrew, you work with Andrew, but if you put Andrew next to Samson, both 100%. What a beautiful sight.
I don't know where Samson's gonna place, but I'll tell you right now, Andrew could be as high as second, and if Rami's not 100%, actually Andrew could win. That's how good that kid is. And I'm just being honest.
No. Hey, listen, I'm the one.
Samson's a great bodybuilder, but the problem is, you see, Andrew doesn't have the best back, but it flows. Samson need a little more back. I think, this is my opinion. The legs are beautiful, abs good, arms, everything. I don't know what he did with the back. Yeah, I still see him just a little shallow in the back. I mean, this is my eyes. I don't, what I mean?
No. You're right, and absolutely. Listen, and I say this all the time. If Rami is not on, there's going to be 6-7 guys that can beat him.
Yeah,
We've seen this the last 7 years, 8 years. He was beat in 2020 by Dexter and William. So
and don't get me wrong, Dennis. Don't get me wrong. I will say it again. If Rami's 100%, everybody's going to be fighting for second place.
yeah, well, everybody feels the same, I guess. But now I still don't know what you think. So you don't think Samson can beat Andrew?
No,
Okay.
not now.
Milos.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, of course he can beat him. I mean, of course he can beat him. Is he going to beat him? I mean, look, I'm a huge fan of Andrew Jack. I've seen him in person and freak me out. He has that something special, right? He does. Frame, unbelievable. Chest, like you've never seen, like straight, full round. He lifts his arms, biceps is like full separate. Jesus Christ, yeah. Huh?
Rami
yeah.
is just calling.
Yeah. Well, the answer you can answer, but listen. Yes.
I'm filming the podcast. Look.
Hey, Rami.
Oh,
Okay.
Rami!
the big Rom.
You see
But-
everybody? We got Chet. We got everybody on here.
Hey, and this is the 100th episode, right?
Huh?
100 episodes. Yes.
Say hi to them, all of them. But
He-
I have an interview today in the German embassy,
Okay, good. Awesome.
and they called me. Maybe you get your visa after 15 days.
No. Go in for the interview. Trust me. Go. Go for the interview. I'll call you back after. Go for the interview. If you have it today, go.
I did already.
Oh, okay. So no. We're gonna expedite it. But
Yeah.
let me call you back, brother.
Okay.
All right. He says hi to everybody.
Hey. Good luck with Lisa.
What up, man?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So, listen, and I like to hear opinions of everybody. I greatly value Chad and Chris Acedo's opinion. They're really analysts. They go down to the wire, to everything. So, Boniek, right? I didn't mention about Boniek. I think the Boniek can win the contest. He's that good. I mean, really. If Rami is a little bit tough, Boniek has his dance striated, goddamn so much dance stick muscle, matured that we've seen. Backstage at the Boston, Regan Grimes was there like a fan, just touching the biceps fibers and shoulders. And oh my God, William was so impressive. William doesn't have a width, which Rami can exploit all day long, right? But he has a thick chest, back down biceps from hell, side chest from hell, legs improving. Structurally, William cannot possibly beat Big Rami at his conditioned self, but he has enough muscle and can be a factor. So one-on-one against Nick Walker, one-on-one against Hadi Chupan. I mean, he can give them a run for money. I'm just going to say about Andrew and Samson. Samson is improving, and the idea is that we're going to bring him the leanest he's ever been. When you prepare guys for the shows, of course, we all want a certain level of conditioning. Well, there was always kind of trade-off with Samson. I started training him 7 weeks before the first show, Arnold, the UK. This is how much time I had, right? So when you compromise, you can just do that much. But then he did 5 more shows, the Italy and Egypt and Prague and Romania. So there was never really a time to grow. And now after immediately into Arnold in Boston, we didn't have a chance to grow. You see him now he is the biggest he's ever been. And now idea is to be the leanest he's ever been. So can Samson, with a little bit more muscle mass, improved back, as you see, improved shoulders, crazy legs, being polished, can he match or better Andrew Jack? I believe so, even though I'm a huge fan of Andrew. I talked to Jay Cutler, and Jay said the same thing. And I'm sure that he's not going to mind me. He says Andrew can be as high as second, just like George Farah said. I mean, this is how good Andrew can be, if he brings it. But George, I mean, he didn't bring it. If he was 70% in Texas, he was 71% at the most in the UK. You know, there was not a big difference.
Yeah. This is what it looked like from
the
pictures.
footage.
From the footage, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, can Andrew, in the condition of Arnold Classic, be top 6? I want to ask Chris and Chad. Looking like he did in the UK, you think he can make a top 6?
The way he looked this year?
Yeah.
No, if he looks like he did in UK, he won't be in the top 6. No, he'll be battling for 7 through 10.
All right.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just based off of just where he was in UK. Now, obviously, he's got a lot of room to move, you know, obviously. And they're, you know, I mean, they're obviously still figuring things out and still trying to, you know, fine tune everything. So we have to imagine that we're going to see a much, much improved Andrew going into. I will say the one thing that I did notice about Andrew, his confidence level was much different in UK. His posing, his presentation, like you can tell he's starting to get a lot more comfortable being on stage, and those types of presentation and all of that definitely improved. But they will have to take his conditioning up a notch for sure, while improving some, you know, areas of weakness.
Yeah. Chris Aceto, technician.
Yeah, how far can he go?
No,
Yeah.
the question was when the way he looked in the UK, would this be enough to place top 6 at the Olympia?
I don't think so. I think you just like measure, you know, like Hadi Chupin, put him next to Hadi Chupin. I think Hadi ends up exploiting him. Having said that, you know, for someone who's only been training a short period of time, you know, how long's he been training? I hear.
I think he's been training quite some time. It's just he hasn't been competing for too long.
Well, you know what? Out of all the people there who can close, it's like a horse race. You know, who can close hard towards the end, it's probably him, because with that structure, is that enough to place top 5? I'd say no. He will not place top 5 in that with that look. Can he get, you know, first call out like close to the center? Absolutely. It's a matter of like fine tuning that, because when you're fine tuning someone with that height and that structure, you know, like 5% leaner makes him look 20% leaner and 20% bigger, because he's got the flow and the shape. You know what I mean? Where someone, if blocky as hell with a ton of muscle, if they come in, you know, 5% harder, you go like, yeah, he looks a little bit better. You know, even if he's 10% harder, you say you're harder. But with someone with that type of flow, structure, tie-ins, you know, it has like a compounding effect on stage under the lights. So that's why he's so dangerous, you know, and it's not like I think, you know, we're picking on him. It's just that people, obviously everyone sees like how dangerous he is. And the irony is we expect, you know, we want to see like 93 wheeler condition on him, you know, first time out. You know what I mean? People are putting the bar so high, you know, for what they want to see. You know, but, you know, he can go anywhere from right up there, you know, all the way down to, you know, outside the top 6. I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised if he didn't improve a lot between those shows, though, and the Olympia.
Yeah. George knows a thing or two. He knows what to do, right?
Yeah. Like I said, you know, Dennis, you've been a coach. All these guys been coaches. You know, you give yourself, man, to these guys. You give 100%. And sometimes it's up to them how much they want to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's certain things, you know, but right now I think he's in the right place, right mind. He's coming back. He's finishing a few things. He's coming back to Vegas. As a matter of fact, Flex Lewis gonna be training him on the heavy days and stuff. Like he wants to push him. Flex Lewis is good in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be cool. Of course, Flex gonna give his input and stuff. But he feels bad that Flex is not 100%. He's been going through hell, the poor guy. But he want him to be there with him as a voice, as you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But Flex Lewis gonna be taking care of a lot of the working out, the heavy compound and stuff. I think that's gonna make big difference. You know what I mean? With me like setting up the diets and all that jazz, I think I can see him making a great improvement.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a few competitors now thinking, that's all he can get now. This is it. He can't get much better this year.
Well, they're gonna be disappointed.
I'm thinking like this. This is the same thing they thought when Rami got the special invite. Nobody was worried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Literally, nobody was worried. So now think, because Chris just mentioned, put the Flex Wheeler condition from 93 on him. Who could beat that?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Who could beat that with that shape?
Yeah.
And literally, we always say 100%. Nobody really knows what is 100%. But let's say Flex Wheeler's condition from 1993
Oh, my God.
Arnold Classic.
It would be all over.
Who would be able to beat that?
It would be all over.
That's just my
There's pretty
question.
much
That's
ideal
just
body.
my question. That's just my question. But let's talk.
There's the thing too, where we've seen him like Milo said, 70, 71% or whatever. If he improves 10%, it'll look like 20.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got a lot of room. And, if he improves in certain areas and stuff, it's going to be a dramatic change. So it will, people will be like, holy shit, did he improve? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it isn't like he has to improve a tremendous amount because he already looks fucking nuts.
He's winning shows. He just won every show.
Sure.
Yeah, hands down.
That little bit.
I don't know. I don't know how some people always will still break him down. Will still. He just won every show he did.
One thing I see with him is his connection with his body is pretty up there.
Yeah.
Because mine shows he's been on stage. He's got some great connection with controlling different areas of his body on that stage, which is pretty remarkable at the many shows he's been in. Only a handful of shows.
And he just signed I heard a good deal with BSN.
Yes.
So that's good for him, man. That's good for him. He deserves it. I'm sure he deserves it. He's a nice guy. He's humble. He's just a cool cat. I like him.
I mean,
really do.
it changes the dynamic of the Olympia because we've already seen everyone go against everyone,
Yeah.
And, here we are talking about him. We're talking about him like he's not in shape or something.
Yeah.
But he was in shape. We just know what the potential is. And I mean, God, if he gets into if the call out is 3 or 4 and he's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how they, because he's got the height and he's got that lights out front double and lights out front lat spread. He's got the quads. We haven't seen a tall guy with big quads.
Mm-hmm. Tony Freeman, what's the last one?
Freeman, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that because everybody talks about Andrew Jack so much, I think this will benefit Samson. Because they're both about pretty much the same height. You know what I mean? And, if you call one, you got to call the other. You got to put them next to each other. There got to be a comparison between Andrew and Samson. I just believe that's going to happen.
And then you have to bring Blessing.
How tall is Blessing?
He's
Similar.
5'11".
Is he 5'11"? I thought he was a little bit shorter.
I thought it was taller. But Chad said something interesting, right? That let Andrew Jack improve 10%, he's going to look like 20. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree. He has a type of physique and a quality that he can appear in much better condition than he actually is. He has wow. I mean, when you look at him in Texas from the front, right, he looks peeled beyond belief. Abs almost like that the liver whatever king guy that has implants. It's like so deep. Stuff like you're laughing. There's the implants 100%. It was like I saw him at the UFC. It was pissing me off. The guy is sitting in the chair, and the abs are like perfect, like
Shirtless,
you on Olympia stage
shirtless.
for like 10 minutes, shirtless. But Andrew Jack, I mean, when he does that lat spread, that depth that he has, and then straight at the chest and shoulders, who can beat him in front poses? Front relax, frontal biceps, front lat spread, abs shut. I mean, it's going to be super hard to beat Andrew Jack in those poses. Doesn't matter who stands next to him. I mean, I'm serious.
Is going to kill.
But
His ab shot is going to kill everybody.
yeah, I mean, the front relax. When you analyze, I mean, Chris, you, Dennis, and I talked a little bit during a Texas show, and Dennis, I remember first time when he saw Andrew Jack, like, what a standout!
Yeah.
Lights out, show over, never seen anything like it.
Polished. I've seen a few other things, but no, there he stood out. He looked polished. I remember I texted George. I said, "Who put that oil on him?" Because he looked fucking perfect.
Yeah.
You remember that, George? Didn't I text you?
Yeah.
I said,
And
"Whoever
then you
put
see
the-"
my picture putting the oil on.
Yeah, but I asked you before I saw the picture, so it wasn't the picture.
Speaking of oil, I really believe that you can make a 10% or more difference with the right oil. A lot of guys fuck up the oils lately.
Yeah.
You know, just look. I mean, immediately it just stands out.
Not
If you
just
have
the oil, even the color.
Yeah. That's
Even the color. Chris Aceto, I know you got to go pick up your kids. Just let me know whenever that is. I don't want you.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chad, let me get to you, man. Tell us, what can we expect from Big Ramy?
I'll tell you. And you know this obviously. This is the best place Ramy's been since I've been working with him. There's no doubt. I mean, the first year was good, but again, we had a lot of questions that needed to be answered, and we were still figuring things out. And it was a great year, obviously, and that first win was awesome. Last year was a tough year. He had a lot of things going on personally. He didn't train all year, and so coming into the Olympia, realistically, there was points where we didn't even think he was going to make it. He didn't think he was going to make it. We were trying to get him, and we were trying to achieve a look that is very difficult to achieve without training. Like, it's just a very difficult look. So, that hurdle was just a whole different ballgame. This year, it's completely different. This year, he's training. His mindset is completely different. This is the best Ramy physically and mentally that I've ever seen at this point. He will be, 100%, 100% the best he's ever been. That's for sure. We're going to see a bigger Ramy. We're going to see a much more conditioned Ramy, even than 2020. He's going to be a fucking freak show. There's no doubt in my mind, no doubt. And he's driven. Like he's not satisfied. Even when we talk, and right now, you can just see it. He wants more. He wants more. Like, he's got that mindset now where he wants to give the fans, and you know how he is with the fans. Like, he wants to give the fans something just so extraordinary. He feels like he owes it to them, and he's fucking busting ass. Like, I mean, there's no doubt.
So when you look at him now, he's now, I think he lost a couple of pounds. Let's say he's now around 3, maybe 334, 335.
Yeah, he's right in the 330 range,
Okay.
Right now. And again, like, just conditioning, etching away.
Yeah.
Right now, at this point, you can already start to see like a blurred vision of the glutes starting to come in, and all of a sudden, that's way ahead of where he was, last year. And at a much, much heavier weight than ever before.
Yeah. So where do you think
And the waist is still the waist is probably just as small as it was last year when he was much smaller.
Right.
So we were able to keep his waist tight and build up around that this year, which gives him a much, more unique illusion with that tight waist. But I mean, the thing is, like, he's trained all year. He has that dense muscle, and the body is just, he's a hyper responder anyway. The body is responding at a rapid rate right now, which is great for him because it allows me to keep his food up just a little bit. And for him mentally, that's a plus going into the show for sure.
Chris Aceto, what is your opinion on Ramy this year? all of us here know Rami for a long time, so you know you've worked with him in the past. So where do you see him, and what do you see when you see his updates?
I mean, I've always, you know, the updates, all the bodybuilders updates really mean nothing because usually, you know, just take him out for a minute. You know, people's updates, they don't really, you know, a lot of people don't show up on stage like that. So updates don't really, you know, mean much. But I was at the show last year, obviously everyone else. And, you know, obviously he didn't train the whole year and just threw it together at the end and still won. I mean, all he has to do is be at his best. You know, there's other people who, if they're at their best, you know, they place high, but, you know, there's nobody who's going to challenge him really here in terms of, you know, he's got too many freaky shots to be denied when, as I said, that the show's always been about freaks, you know? I mean, you can come in with a condition that we've never seen ever in the history of the sport. And if you're not freaky big, you know, you might place pretty darn high and all of us be talking about your, you know, on Monday morning about, wow, the conditions, just how did he get that?
Kind of like a hottie.
But yeah, like a hottie, you know, I mean, but, you know, the thing with Rami is last year in prejudging, he showed vulnerability and, you know, he shut the door, you know, at the finals because he was tighter. And people were just saying like, you know, well, that's what he's got to do. He's just got to come in tight. Well, yeah, he can win. He just showed you on the finals that all he needs to do is come in tight, but he can also come in big because he didn't even train. So the flip side is, you know, it's not like he was off in prejudging. He just didn't have the condition to be dominant. But if he came in, even with the condition that he had on Friday night, with even more muscle, it'd be even more impressive. You know what I mean? So he can go both ways. A lot of people have to be right on the money for their physiques. He can do it either way. He can, you know, bring a condition that is like amazing and not be as big as he's been and he'll win, or he can come in just, you know, good condition and just gigantic, you know, bigger than he's ever been. And, you know, he's got both ways where he can wiggle.
Hey, you know, one thing, I know it's off topic a bit, but like going back to William, I think with the things he did with his, you know, with his imperfections on his body, like Chad was saying, that's going to make a huge difference, I think, with the way he looks when he's just standing there, when he get in some poses that made, you know, his stomach wasn't right, the gyno stuff. Having that fixed right there and the added size and confidence and all that stuff, man, I think I really do believe in William Bonner going to play way better than everybody ever expected.
William beat Big Ramy 2 years ago at Arnold Classic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like out of question. But I just think that Big Ramy is Big Ronnie of our times. I mean, if he shows up, I mean, look for the second place. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
What about hey, man, so we got to congratulate Dennis on his 100th.
This is my 100th episode. Yes, that's why.
Awesome.
That's why I wanted all you guys on, because I said
Congratulations.
I want to make this a special episode. Yeah,
grinding, boy.
grinding, and in little over a year. So,
All right, now I have something to say, Dennis,
Go
before
ahead.
we close over the year. If Rami showed up this year like last year, Rami will not be Mr. Olympia.
I believe
and
it.
mark my word.
I believe it.
What?
I believe it. I can see that. I can see that.
I said, Chris, if Rami showed up looking like last year Mr. Olympia,
But
he's going to fall.
But you know, the thing is, though, like you said, he didn't train that much. And I can relate to that also. I did I was really depressed in like 96. I didn't train the whole year, but I knew I needed to get up and get out of that funk. And I needed to, you know, give everything I had to even save my career. And I know that mentality, like you need every single day leading up to the show.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro 10.
In order to bring whatever you're going to bring when you don't have the gym time behind you. And I think he did really well. I mean, from what I'm saying, I know Dennis been with us a long time. I know Chad's been with a long time. I know he's talking different. Sounds way different to me. Like I never heard him utilizing some of the words he's using. About his heart. His heart is in it. Chad, you've seen people get pissed off. You've seen people change their attitude mentally. Goes a long way with bringing a better physique. You saw Ronnie do it. You saw, Flex. You saw a lot of people. You saw a lot of people do it over the years. And I think he might be in that same groove as after Ronnie lost to Gunther, and he was like pissed. He's gonna come the next thing and just wreck shop.
Yeah.
So
no, I like I told you guys that he is totally different. I've seen him so many times, and I know how his mindset. His mindset was never this powerful where you could write something online and say something negative that would throw him off. He was like that. Now he is just like, you know what? He doesn't even care. And you know how I know exactly that he is super, super motivated? When I was in Dubai, the plan was for me to stay until September 25th. It was a little over, like almost 5 weeks. And I always thought that he's scared to come to train because he knows he's going to get his ass kicked. And this time, he begged me to fucking extend, to stay longer. That's how I know his mindset is right, because he's not scared of digging really, really deep, Chat, and I told you that. He's not scared at all. So I think that we will see the best Ramy. And George, what you're saying, I believe it. If he would come in like he did last year, I would think he would have some severe competition, And
and I think what Chad and you doing
we're loose
with Ramy being ready earlier like this, I think that's the best thing you can do. Because right now you can actually relax to the show. And I can see Ramy. I have never seen Ramy that far out being shredded and cross-striated. So that's great. That's kudos for you guys. Yeah.
Can I mention Brandon Curry? Because we kind of skipped him. And I think that we all know, former champion, 2 times runner-up, that he's coming guns blazing for this one. I think, Chris, I heard you said the picture. You've seen the pictures of him. Chris Acedo.
Of who?
Of Brandon Curry.
No, I haven't seen
Abdullah
that.
sent it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something about Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry is a 300-pound working like he never worked out in his life before. He's really, really hungry because he knew that at the Arnold, he was not his best. So he's really moved shop to Kuwait, and he's really training 2 to 3 times a day. Like, that's how hungry he is. So that's why I said it's going to be.
Are we missing out on Brandon? Are we not giving him the respect that he deserves?
Well, I was going to say something.
He's a former champion. He's a former champion.
You on here, you can say whatever you want.
Yes. I think he's going to be tough too. He's coming. He's working hard. He's hungrier than ever. And this is something good, man. We want everybody to be at his best, because it makes it exciting for all of us that we're not competing anymore. We don't have to diet anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, there's 12 guys that should potentially make top 6. Yes. So now a top 6, potential top 6 guy is going to have to end up 11th or 12th, because there's no other way. That's how crazy this is. We want to welcome Lee Priest. What's up, Lee?
Good morning. I was just looking at the star of casting here. It's like all these brilliant minds, then you have this fucking idiot from Australia.
oh, Chris has left. I think Chris is here just left. I know he's got to pick up his kids, but I thought he was going to say bye first. That's okay. Maybe we just lost him.
Those RX muscle guys, you can't trust them.
Oh boy!
So
there you go,
Lee. We've been talking about Olympia competitors, and just to throw one thing at you, so what we talked about is Andrew Jacked. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and another tall guy like Samson Dowder,
Mm-hmm.
and you're familiar with all of those guys. So, and the questions that I had for George was, or for Milos, can Samson beat Andrew? Just want to hear from you. What do you think?
Oh, Crizzo's going to beat them all.
Huh?
Rizzo.
I said Crizzo's going to beat them all.
I don't know. Everybody talk about Chris.
Yes, but in answer to your question, the way Sampson's looking now, like those last pictures at 310 and his conditioning, like Andrew Jack's great, yes, but I think if Sampson comes in his best, even if Andrew's at his best, from what I've seen in photos, you can't really go off photos, but I think Sampson, yes, can beat Andrew, yes, no problem.
Talking about Crizzo, because you just mentioned his name, he just got his pro card. He's now officially an IFBB Pro League pro. I've seen videos already in the last 2 weeks where they already have him in the top 6 at the Olympia. He wasn't even pro yet.
No way.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Hey,
Who said that?
I said on his thing, I said, look, he looks good, he looks great. I gave him his props, but I said he's not going to be in the top 6 because in the gym by himself, shit, I look great. I could be top 6 in the Olympia looking at myself in the gym, but on stage
it's funny though.
Even though the other guys weren't as good as him, you could start to see his flaws up there on stage. And like you said, with the Olympia lineup this year, the way it's stacked, I think he'll be lucky to get top 10 if everyone comes in good condition.
Yeah.
Not gonna get top 10.
George, give me your opinion on Michael Crizzo.
First, he need to qualify to the Olympia. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much.
You know
Thank you
what I
very
mean?
much.
I mean, he need to qualify before they put him top 6.
I know, but I'm not asking you for where he's going to place at the Olympia. I just want your opinion on his physique and how far he can go as a pro.
The guy looked amazing by himself. You know, from the front, he looked really good. He have some really nice biceps, legs, and everything. Back's a little shallow, you know. But like I said, we need to see him against the big dogs, man. You can't just say top 6. You know, let him win the pro show first. You know what I mean?
Right. For me, it's something, and I don't know if you guys see the same. Even his front double biceps, here, something bothers me. Something is not right. I don't know if it's just short. It's just, I don't know.
I think it's structure.
He's got some structural flaws.
Right, it's structure.
You know, and now put Crizzo is a 6 footer or 6'1", from what I heard.
Yeah.
Now stand him next to Andrew. All this is going to get exposed.
Oh yeah.
Really, really bad. I mean, so listen, I like the fact that he comes over from the elite, and that he knows that if you want to compete with the best, you got to be with the best. But I think the hype. I think the hype is real when it comes to him being an impressive bodybuilder, because I think he has body parts, and Milos confirmed that he looks more impressive in person.
Yeah.
You know. But Milos, do you believe that he could be? If let's say he qualifies now in the Prague Pro and he wins that show.
Well,
do you believe he's top 6 or top 10 material?
Okay. Let me put it this way. I've seen Andrew and him in the exact same spot, like 2 days apart.
Yeah.
In the gym. Flex Lewis saw him as well, and very much impressed with individual body parts. When you look at arms, front double biceps, it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I mean, arms are going, from here to Prague, right?
Mm-hmm.
The heavy,
kind of like a Lee Priest.
Hey, someone that bodybuilding website yesterday put up his picture and my picture. I was comparing us, and I said nice comparison. But if a guy 6'1", 290 has the same arm size as a guy 5'5", 206, he's got problems.
Yeah. Listen, Michael Crizzo has the craziest arms. Trust me on that one. It's bigger than he said. But as Danny said. Something about his legs. He has a shallow abs, and the lower abs are not chiseled and deeply inserted. So he leaves that kind of impression that Andrew Jack is going to expose standing right there, much wider. I mean, V-taper, X-frame, and shape is not going to be comparable. I mean, Andrew is way ahead of him right there. Now, when they start hitting poses, Jay Cutler noticed about Michael Krizo that he had that straight, that dense, the quality muscle, yeah. But the structure is not there.
Yeah.
So all the wider guys with the last spread V taper, I think they're gonna dominate him. And his back is still not wide enough, thick enough, sharp enough. I posted a video from him winning the pro card, and immediately he texted me like, "Hey, the video doesn't show my condition." And I said, like, look, yeah, because listen, I was guilty to Arnold, the UK. I thought that James Harrison was way off until I've seen a high definition footage, and it's like, oh shit, it really. So I'm gonna back off. And I'm not gonna say that his condition was not great. I mean, it was solid. You see separation. Back was harder than normally, but doesn't have that width. And this is, as George says, standing alone, looking super impressive, okay? But standing next to Brandon and Rami and Hadi and, the Andrew Jack and everything else, can he, make a top 6? It would be very, very hard. I can't see it happening.
Not with just arms.
Yeah, I can't see it happening, even though I'm a fan, and I hope that he's going to keep improving, because he has the thickness around the muscle, but he needs the width.
But
He's
no,
185 centimeters, whatever that is.
185 is 6'1". But Milos, looking at the athletes that are already qualified for the Olympia, he's not even qualified. So we shouldn't even put him in the Olympia yet. But let's say he qualifies.
I think he's gonna qualify.
Yeah. So let's say he qualifies. Look at the other competitors. Can he make top 10?
Well, on certain points, look.
Yes or no?
Can he make? I think he can make a top 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Let me ask you a different question, because then we're going to talk around it. So let's say we have the top 6. He's not making top 6. You agree?
Yeah, he's not.
Can he beat Hunter?
If Hunter is way off.
No. If he's on.
Yes or no?
It's on, no. If it's on, no.
Can he beat Ian Bayer?
I mean, it could be a fight.
Can he beat Samson?
No.
Can he beat Nick Walker?
No. Yeah.
Dude, we need to talk about Walker. There's the guy we needed.
Yeah. So
let's talk.
It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard for him to make top 10 unless the people are somewhere around there are off. That's what I believe. Okay. All right, Chad. You started a good conversation. Let's talk about Nick Walker.
Dude, I think Walker is one of those guys that you just, we don't know what the hell is going to happen with him. Now, obviously, before he got back with Jansen, I was kind of under the impression that he would fall. I based off of what I was seeing in the offseason, I just didn't think everything was clicking with him like we had saw in the past when he was with Jansen. I think him and Jansen have a much better relationship, as far as the whole thing. I think Walker is somebody that needs somebody right there overseeing everything, and I think that clears his head and it allows him to do what he does. As far as freak level, as far as, all of that stuff, he's about as freaky as you can get. Now, where he's going to get exposed is by some of these guys that if they nail it, that's where he becomes
Structure
will, so, I mean, for him to, let's say, win something at that level against the best of the best, he needs help. He's going to need some help by, a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 elite guys. But there's no doubt, like pound for pound, this fucking guy is as big and as freaky as ever has stepped on stage. But I think that, his structure, because of his height, just holds him back just a little bit. He doesn't have that, eye-appealing look that everybody wants to see. He's got that mutant freak look, which everybody loves, but that doesn't necessarily transition into a very high placing at the Olympia. I think he'll be in the top 6, but I don't know if he's going to be, I don't see him moving way up from where he was last year.
George, does Nick Walker need more leg sweep?
Nick Walker needs to come in the way he came in last year, maybe a little sharper. I don't know about, I hope he improved his leg sweep a little bit, you know what I mean, to match his freaky upper.
But like Chad said, man, you know, he's freaky, he's dominant and good. But honestly, man, all these guys are. I mean, this year is like I can't even pick who's gonna be up there. You know what I'm saying? This is how hard. This is not an easy walk. Last year was a lot easier for him to be where he is. I think this year he's gonna have a hard time.
It's going to be harder than last year, yeah.
But the good thing is, like Chad said, he's back with Matt. And him and Jensen, they're very good. They're close friends. They work better that way. And the same thing I was saying, like Chad was saying, he's getting so big. I'm like, man, I can't see it. I think he's going to fall. So right now, hopefully with Matt, he's going to improve. And like I said, if he comes in, man, as sharp, like when we first see him on the scene, I think he will be right up there. You know,
Milos.
Last year, going into the Arnold Classic, I actually didn't see him as a serious threat. I didn't like his physique, but 15 seconds into the prejudging, when I saw him, so he won hands down. It was just like, wow. There was like, oh my God. But as Chad said, and you guys are saying, George repeated, the word is freaky, 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 freaky. Is this a freak show? Because let's look at superheroes. Are you gonna pick Superman or a Hulk? I mean, when we talk bodybuilding, it used to be aesthetic shape. We are looking for something pretty. If you just want to be freaked out, Hulk comes and Hulk smash, right? I just really don't. I hope you're not gonna go with the Walker over physiques like Brandon Curry or Hadi or Lila Brada or Andrew Jack, because that's gonna send bodybuilding in the wrong direction again. With all the love and respect for, I mean, how can you not be amazed by Nick Walker? It's absolute freak. But are you gonna go in the freak direction again, or are you gonna keep it pretty?
Yeah, I think
we're gonna keep it pretty.
I think the same. I mean, like with Rami being so massive as a freakish bodybuilder as he is, he got tremendous shape for a big guy like that.
True.
And he's taller than Nick Walker. He looks more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So I think that is the Achilles heel for a competitor like Walker.
Yeah. Lee, what do you think? What do you think about Nick Walker?
I agree with what everybody said. Like, he's a freak, and I like freaks too. But as even like Milos said, it's like the way it's going now. We've got some Ramis and Samsons who are massive, but got the symmetry. If they go towards Nick Walker again, it's going to be almost like going back to the Dorian days. Everyone's going to go, shit, we have to look like this now, and everyone's going to start just packing the size on, losing shape, getting a bit bloated and stuff. But not saying Nick's bloated because he's got a nice tiny waist, but compared to the other guys we're talking about, Samson, Rami, and all them, they've got, great symmetry for the mass they're carrying. And like you said, Nick's just that freak factor. So if the judges go back to the freak, it's going to throw the ball up in the air again. Everyone's going to go, well, shit, now what look do the judges want? So I think the way it's going now is good. And Nick will be up there because, like I said, he's got that freaky factor. His conditioning's always good, and people love that freak thing. So even just the crowd behind him and stuff, it's like, was it George or Chad said, he'll probably be around the fifth again, maybe fourth. But with the competition he's up against this year, I don't see him moving much higher unless, like I said, we always say if one of those guys slips, then he can move up a bit higher. But if they're all on, he'll be finding it hard to get into the top three.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, is it too early to predict the top six?
You couldn't. I don't think you could if you tried. Could you?
I'm asking because I want to know what everybody's feelings are regarding who's going to make.
Is Rami first, and then after that, put your hand in a hat and just start doing it.
But listen,
No.
I feel we are not fair to the couple of more guys because we talk about each other. We didn't mention Hadi Choopan, Derek Lunsford. So and Hunter.
Lunsford.
Yeah, let's say Hadi Choopan. I saw Hadi winning 2 Olympias so far. If I was a judge.
All right. You said that already. So you think Hardy's going to move up?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think Hardy's going to beat Brandon?
if Hardy is as normally he comes and a little bit bigger. And
We
condition-
already know what Hardy's going to look like.
Yeah. I prefer Brandon's shape always if Brandon is ripped. And let me put that statement. I've never seen Brandon in spectacular condition. He was good, like 8 out of 10 kind of condition, but it was never 9 or 10. If he comes peeled to the bone dry, it would be a different story.
But so far, he didn't have to be like that to beat Hardy because his shape carried him. And this is what the same thing we talked about with Andrew. So, but now,
What about Bonek? Bonek's looking pretty good too.
yeah, we already talked about Bonek, but Derek Lunsford, now he is the guy that can potentially come in there and mix up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know what he's going to look like. The last time we saw him in shape was at the 212, where he, still had body parts where you could see he was flat, the legs, But what is he going to look like weighing in 220, 225?
I'll tell you. I mean, here's my take on Lunsford. I think he's the biggest gamble of the night, and I'll tell you why. Because he is untested against this. I think it's a ballsy move to go in. But I'm not sure I would have taken that jump because I think it would have been a much smarter move for him to go in and regain the 212 Olympia title, which I think he would have done because he just outmasses everybody. And then maybe went to the Arnold and seen how he did against some of the elite guys. I think that it's such a risk because we know that last year he looked good. He clearly deserved to win, but he definitely was in no way, shape, or form peeled. Like, he's lean, his body fat level is low, but he doesn't have that thin skin. He doesn't have a freaky dry look. We know he's not going to be freaky big. Even if he's added 7 to 10, pounds of tissue, it still puts him in the 220-ish range. Can he show up freaky detailed with freaky thin skin, 225, 230 pounds? My personal opinion is they bought way too much into the hype at the guest pose. And you got to realize that guest pose, most of those guys were in more of a detox mode. I mean, you could look at Brandon and tell, like, he hadn't stepped on the gas at all. Like, he was literally.
Oh, Brandon came off the couch.
Yeah, exactly. All of these guys, and here he is full blown. I think they bought into that too much. That's my personal opinion. I could realistically see him as high as maybe 6, 7, 8, but I could also easily see him out of the top 10. Easily. That's my opinion.
Yeah, everybody has,
I just hope he don't lose his body, the lines and stuff that people fell in love with his physique. I don't know. Just seen it.
The thing is, they don't even know what he's going to look like yet. Yeah. How could they? He's never been on an open stage, so
it's a gamble. It's a huge gamble just financially. I mean, can you imagine? Because if he's out of the top 10, what does he get? $2,000? Even if he makes,
is it 2 or is it 4?
I don't know. I don't know. He ends up with something, but it ain't sure as hell ain't what.
I remember the times where being out of the top 10 means 0.
That's what I'm saying. It's a gamble.
Chad, you mentioned something interesting, like of him not being conditioned. That's what when I talked to Honey Rainbow after the show, right? And I told him, like, look, the conditioning from the front was lacking, right? I mean, from the back double biceps was like, freaky, right? But even it shows starts from the front relaxed. When he step on the stage, like, he said, oh, he's off. Yeah. And then Hani told me, like, no, he just doesn't still have that mature muscle he was conditioned. But even if he was conditioned, he doesn't appear. As I was saying about Andrew Jack, he's the type of guy that can appear much more ripped by the density that he has and polishment and fibrotic. And Derek Lunsford doesn't have. Derek has a front double biceps that is super hard to beat. Front last spread that maybe you can hide conditioning in those two poses. But then you have to do the side poses that you see that There's nothing much happening. Tie-ins, striation, separation, right? From a back double biceps is going to be super, super competitive, right? But then I see what you're saying. He is a factor that if he shows up looking crazy, he can be top 5 contender or out of top 10 contender, like you said.
Yeah, if he can bring a shock factor like he did in Pittsburgh, if he can do that again to us in shape, then I think he will place much better than a lot of people
I don't
would
think
think.
he can speak out as best. He's never been at 100% yet since he won the Olympia. I mean, the USA.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. No one really knows. So it's like it's.
I like
Chet
when Milo
said it the right way. It's a gamble. We don't know.
start talking
Yeah.
striation.
Roll it in.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Hunter?
Well, I think
Hunter
Derek. I think Derek too. I think Derek too. Even at his best with the competition this year, he still doesn't quite have that fullness and muscle maturity that even if Derek comes in good shape, standing beside Hardy and all those other guys, their conditioning is going to make him still look out of shape because he hasn't come in with that. I don't think he has it yet.
Yeah.
In years to come, maybe a couple of years he will. But right now, even if he comes in good shape, those other guys are still going to make him look a bit off. And I think that's going to put him down a bit.
So think about this scenario. Now they're dieting. Hani is going for condition. So let's say, maybe they miscalculated a little bit. Maybe now he's down to 215, 216 already. Do you think they're still going into the open or are they going to squeeze down into the 212? Because think about that scenario. They're dieting. Next thing you know, he's just 216,
He
215.
signed a contract already.
I don't think it
Yeah,
does.
he's under contract.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters if you sign the contract. If you can make weight, and it's like, listen, I'm too small.
You think Harney's going to be looking around? Harney's going to be looking around the athletes' meeting, going,
I'm just
212.
throwing this out.
No. You know what it is, Dennis? Dennis, the problem is with, I know Derek personally, and he always have a hard time going under 220. And I think that's why they made that move, because they wanna maybe capitalize on that, that 220 plus and make them harder. I think it's a good move because the kid's not missing anything. He's flawless from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Very pretty to look at.
I mean, he was 260 in Pittsburgh. And,
I know.
And we watched it up close, so I was like,
Yeah. Well, here's my top 10 because you didn't ask me. I don't want to say top 6 because you don't know. So top 10 is going to be Rami, Andrew, Branding, Blessing, Hadi, Bonac, Samson.
okay,
Derek,
stop,
Walker,
George, stop. We're not going for top 10. We're going for top 6.
I want a top 10 because I don't want to insult anybody.
No, you just count them. Just count them the same way you just counted the top 10. Just give me the first 6.
It's very hard, man.
Listen. Just because we mentioning names now doesn't mean this is what's going to happen.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And nobody
I know.
can take us serious right now. We might change this again in 2-3 weeks, seeing what somebody else looks like. But I just want to know what everybody thinks at this time, right now, 9.5 weeks out from the Olympia. Who do you have in the top 6? In no particular order. George, I'll start with you.
All right. Well, with me I got to pick my guys. So we got Rami, Andrew, Brandon, Blessing, Hadi, Bonac.
Okay.
Those are 6, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I'm going to write this down because that would be a nice thumbnail. George is top 6 for the Olympic. Okay, we got Rami.
Andrew,
Hold on,
Brandon,
my pen.
Blessing, Hadi, and Bonac.
Rami, Andrew, Blessing.
Brandon,
Where's Brandon? Oh, Brandon, Blessing,
Hadi, and Bonac.
and Bonac. Okay, we're going to move on to Milos, man. Come on, Milos.
Rami, Hadi, Samson, Brandon, Bonac, and Andrew.
Rami, Hadi, Brandon,
Samson, Bonac, and Andrew.
Bonac, Andrew. All right, Chet Nichols.
Damn, dude, I don't know. I'm confused.
I know. This is this is just for the records. We got to give the other outlets something to talk about.
I know for sure both of my guys are going to be in the top 6. So I know Rami and William are in the top 6. I've got Nick Walker in the top 6. I've got Andrew Jack in the top 6.
You got 2 more.
Hottie and
Don't forget Brandon.
no, I don't have him in my top 6.
Oh, okay.
Hunter LeBron.
And Labrada.
I think Brandon falls this year.
Okay.
All right, Chris, come here.
I got Rami, Andrew Jack, Labrada, William. Was that 4?
That's 4, yeah. Come on, Chris. You remember that?
I said Hottie, right?
No.
Hottie,
Hadi, 5?
Brandon.
Okay. All right. Lee Priest.
Rami, Bonac, Sampson, Andrew Jack, Hardy, and then the 6 I'd either go
Me.
under this lighting.
Yeah.
I'd have to go either Walker or
You can't or.
okay then.
So you
okay, I'll go-
you left out
I'll go-
so far. You left out Walker, Labrada, and Brandon.
That's where I'm tossing up between Walker and Brandon. If Brandon comes conditioned, Brandon.
So Brandon, is that your choice?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just asking these questions to see how many followers you're all going to lose next week. Okay, so
I changed my top 6 to Rami.
no, this you know what? This is funny because I think it's very interesting because everybody's still confused. And if I asked you again in 1 hour, it might change.
Yeah, it's gonna change.
You
It's
know?
gonna-
Dennis,
as we
Dennis.
go.
Huh?
And as we start seeing different stuff from different people, it's gonna change.
Hey, Dennis, go ahead. Your pick.
I had
All right, my pick: Rami, Bonac, Brandon. This is in no particular order. Rami, Bonac, Brandon, Hadi, Nick Walker, and Derek.
Oh,
I was gonna say Derek, but I'm just not sure. Right
I'm not sure either. I'm just saying what I'm thinking right now. Nobody's sure because that's just
If Chris said Derek, I'd blame it on he's been smoking some hash before he come under there.
no.
I mean,
That's,
there's so many possibilities though too when you look at it.
Uh-huh.
Because if Hadi comes in like he did last year, then I would definitely move Brandon into the top 6 and Hadi out of the top 6 because I thought Hadi struggled to stay in the top 6 last year, and so if he comes in anything close to that, I would have him out for sure. Based on
hold on. Chad, Hadi Chupan last year was struggling?
and prejudging. You probably talk about prejudging.
Prejudging, I wouldn't. I mean, dude, prejudging, I thought he was bad. Now on Saturday night, I thought he looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it just, flipped. It's a flip of the coin. Like if he looks like he did on Saturday night, yeah, he's clearly in the top 6. But if he looks like he did on Friday night,
He would be-
was so small.
He'd be
was so small.
second place. He'd be second place.
Yeah, second place on Saturday night for sure.
Yeah. Hey, but if he
Yeah.
would have looked, and if he would have looked a little bit better on Friday,
Oh, he'd have pushed Rami last year if he'd have looked like
Yeah.
Saturday on Friday.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the thing is too, with the Olympia being as stacked as it is, there's a few names we've left out of the top 6 of some guys who, if they actually nail it and come in their all-time best, sometimes you're like, okay, we've seen him, but then you get that one occasion where they nail it and you go, fuck, I didn't expect that. So
Yeah.
there could be a couple of guys who could still shake it up if they come in their all-time best. So.
yeah. That's why I said there's 12 guys to potentially should make top 6,
Yeah.
and if you potentially should make top 6, and you can end up in 12. It's literally, it's that interesting this year. And that's why I can't wait. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for coming on. Unless anybody has something to say for the final word.
I wanted to hear something from Chad. Like, who was the hardest people to peak? I know you've been in some situations where Schlex with emergency, like it's Wednesday, the show is damn Saturday, and you look like you're 5 weeks out. I know Ronnie had some issues before the show. I know I wasn't the easiest to deal with before the show.
It was definitely not you, Chris. Definitely not you.
It was Paul.
Chris was easy to peak. Chris was easy to peak if you could keep track of him. Like as long as you knew where he was. It was easy to
Got to put an ankle bracelet. Got to put an ankle bracelet on him.
Hey, remember you came to the room? I had some Chinese food.
Dude, I was following.
I got hungry, man.
And
Yeah,
I had to stay in the room so he
my
wouldn't
lips
eat
are all greasy.
Let me guess, Chad, was it Paul Dillette? Because 98 Olympia, Paul was living with me and your diet was on the fridge and Paul would be eating. I'd say, Paul, that's not what's on the diet. He's like, I'm just having something.
Dude, he was. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, and Lee probably knows this. Dillett was one of those guys that could transition so fucking fast. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like if he would have had any kind of work ethic whatsoever, we have no idea what.
In 90, leading up to that 98 Olympia. The last 6 weeks, I was always buying those. Remember those Edamons fat-free chocolate cakes? I'd buy two, one for me, one for him, and I'd eat mine. He would go, son, did you eat yours? I said, yes, father, I ate mine, eat yours. So he'd eat it. The last 4 weeks, I'd throw mine in the bin. Did you eat yours? I'm like, I ate it, eat yours. And he'd sit there eating the chocolate cake. I'm like, keep eating.
Sabotage.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Lee, you and Paul Dillett for stealing sandwiches in one airplane flight from, I don't know, you were going to Europe. I remember that you guys squeaked in and stole some sandwiches and then popped some extra thyroid.
Oh, the whole tray. We took the whole tray, remember?
Yeah, but Chad, 98 Olympia, okay? I remember talking to Ronnie Coleman, and he said, he was big time off on a Friday. And then you did something, made him drink a gallon of water or whatever. And 98 Olympia prejudging, not at the beginning of the prejudging, but midway through, he became a complete freak in the best condition ever. So what did you guys do? And why was he off? And then how did the water help him?
For 98.
Dude, he doesn't remember what he eats for breakfast.
It was
98, yeah. 98
it was 99. I think it was 99.
No, the first one. When I talked to him, he says he spilled over on Friday. And he goes,
no. Yeah.
And then he goes oh, here we go again. I'm going to, because he was 9th in a 97, right? So again, I'm going to be also competing, right? Be the kind of stage decoration, not the champ.
Right.
But then he said he didn't want to even look in the mirror. But you gave him a gallon of water.
What we ended up doing was we ended up carb loading him. By that point, I knew exactly how his physique looked. So I literally carb loaded him until he spilled. And we were drinking a gallon of water to load just to make sure that we could push everything in. And we had not started pulling water at that point. And then when we pulled water, it was just boom, instantaneous. And his body transitioned at a rapid rate. I know exactly what you were saying.
How fast was that boom?
Huh? It was a fast boom.
Yeah. And Chad, again, I'm speaking for the fans that are listening, because I'm also a fan. William Boniak, being a seasoned veteran and never being 120 kilos, and you told him, I want you big, I want you to eat, and he says, I don't think I can do it. How did you actually do it? Because this problem is that a lot of guys don't want to eat everything.
Exactly. So there's the key right there. So we found out right off the bat that he literally couldn't eat that much, and he had never been able to eat consistently. And as good as I do, a lot of guys, and I mean, I go through this a lot because I believe in a lot of food. And so, these guys will be like, oh, dude, I can eat all day. I can eat nonstop. You ain't ever gonna have a problem with me. And then 4 days in, they're like, no way I can eat all that. No way. And so what we ended up doing was we started very slow. We pulled out, quite a bit of the protein and just gradually increased it. So it took us about a month and a half, 2 months to get him to the point where he was consistently eating the food amounts that I wanted him to eat. And I mean, William was, once he started seeing the body respond, I mean, he was like a machine then. And, he would send me, messages like, hey, I'm going on vacation, but I got all my food set up. I've already planned everything out. Like, he never missed a beat from once he got to that point, mainly because he realized that if he did, his body would lose a couple kilograms right off the bat. And then we would, be playing catch up again. But once he got into the groove, but again, like, he had never been like a big eater. And so he just kind of done the same things that he had always been doing his entire career. Body creature of habit, it just kind of stayed in this like one point. But the good thing is it had been there for so long. Once we pushed it outside of that comfort level, his body just fucking exploded. And I mean, some of his shots right now are freaky looking.
I could have sent him my off-season diet if I had known that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I really appreciate it, but I have an appointment. I got to get out of here. George, brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Chad,
Love you, brother. Anytime.
thank you so much. I couldn't say thank you to
Good
Chris.
one, guys.
Lee, I appreciate you coming on.
Congratulations on
And,
your 100th show.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And of course, Chris and Milos, y'all know I love you guys. Take care. Y'all be safe. We'll see you guys soon.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.